This week, I received a text from a community member, one sitting here in this room today, Kathy Pitticelli by name. So Kathy said that she had a dream that I told her I was going to Antarctica.
Here you are.
Here I am. I didn't think it would be here, but anyway. So the dream was, I told her I was going to Antarctica to get the word out that we had to let people be themselves. My text response back was fairly certain Antarctica is not in my future. I'm content spreading the word here about letting all people be themselves. Appreciate you sharing your dream. So, anybody here been to Antarctica? Kelly, tell me how many hands are up?
I'm not seeing any yet.
Okay, we had the same thing going on here. Okay, just checking. So I've never had a desire to travel to Antarctica. In fact, what surfaces when I think of Antarctica are images of penguins, icebergs, and untouched wilderness. I imagine it as a land of extremes, frigid temperatures, no greenery, stark natural beauty, unspoiled terrain. But imagining Antarctica led me to wonder what the anonymous gospel writer, who we call Mark, wanted the people to understand about the experience Jesus had when the Spirit drove him into the desert. Was Jesus reticent? Did he have a sense of danger? You know, we're so conditioned to hearing about Jesus withdrawing into the desert or the mountains that we might not even think about the extreme risk heading into the wilderness posed. In contrast to the temptation stories we're more familiar with, the account that we heard today was succinct. I mean, 2 lines. And kind of more like a high-level outline, right? We heard 40 days, tempted by Satan, hanging out with the beasts and the angels. Ever wonder, did Jesus feel isolated? Did he have a conversion experience? Or, you know, because it was Jesus, did he not need one? We don't know. We don't know. What we're told is that Jesus returns to Galilee saying, it's time. Change your hearts and your minds. And the question I want to pose to you today is, what does that invite us to in 2024? So we heard these great readings today, right? Annie read about after the flood and the rainbow, right? What a vivid image of the promise between God and his people. I will never put such devastation on the earth again, right? You're my people, I'm your God. This is the bond. And I think about it, when do rainbows come? After the rain, right? It's a natural phenomena that doesn't exist if we don't have the droplets of the water in the air that presents this amazing miracle of color. And then we heard Eileen read from Michael Morwood's perspective, right? Hard for me anyway to imagine the atoms in my body were part of dinosaurs. And yet it tells a story about the connections that we maybe never learned about growing up, that we're all connected, all, wherever we are, whatever we believe. But here's another perspective. The word Lent comes from the Old English word that means to lengthen. And therefore, I'm going to talk for about another half an hour. No. But why don't we consider this Lent lengthening our spirits? What does that evoke in you? What if you allowed space for your spirit to be lengthened over the next 6 weeks? As a person who's been short all their life, I used to dream about being taller, so that would be one way of lengthening. But we're not talking about physically, we're talking about lengthening our spirits, broadening maybe, whatever that means, because the Lenten journey is unique to each of us. But permission to be creative. Choose what renews your spirit. And think back. We've heard here in the last few weeks from Carol and Eileen, ways, mechanisms, modalities that are healing for us. Nature, animals, people, music, a change in scenery, and we can go on and on. Listen to what feeds your soul and find a way to practice that. As just one illustration, I want to share a story of one person that has done that, and her name is Julie. She's Armenian. I actually went to college with her mom. She grew up in Glen Mills, Pennsylvania, and went to the Armenian Sisters Academy. Today, she serves as an Episcopal priest and assistant rector at St. Michael's in Brooklyn, New York. Huge transition when she came up against the boundary of the Armenian Orthodox Church and its resistance to consider ordaining women, because she realized she had a call to ministry. So in addition to being an Episcopal minister, Julie offers beginner ballet classes to adults on Zoom via Faith on Point, P-O-I-N-T-E, a ministry she describes as at the intersection of ballet and theology. Right? So listen to Julie's words. She says, yeah, that's what happens. That's okay. One moment for a bit of okay. Julie says, I started ballet when I was 3 years old, and I fell in love immediately. My soul feels its greatest freedom and connection to God when I'm dancing. I think we may have someone here in this space that feels the same. Shout out to Vicky. Before I converted and entered the priesthood, my first career was in arts education. I taught adult beginner ballet at a studio in Midtown Manhattan. As I dove deeper into teaching ballet to adults, the strangest thing happened. I started noticing my dancing body revealed spiritual truths. When I explained how to do a proper arabesque, the words that came out of my mouth were, lift up your heart. We say words like that, don't we? Back to Julie. I came to see that ballet was a spiritual practice. In the beautiful movement of ballet, the Creator God flows through me. End quote. As someone who never took ballet, I just like to say, whether we dance or not, I suspect each of us can recall moments when our hearts were lightened and lifted and open. Moments that left us energized and renewed. So over the next 6 weeks, as our days lengthen, allowing light to shine more and more, give yourself a Lenten gift of leisure, maybe unprogrammed space, to savor the mystery of the Holy One who creates, who incarnates, literally becoming human, and animates each of us. Wilderness, optional.